Welcome back everyone, thank you for joining me today. I wanted to touch upon seasonal fragrances in today's YouTube video. And it's the Northern Hemisphere that are now slipping towards fall or autumn, whilst here in the Southern Hemisphere we are looking at spring. However, I don't know, here in Perth the weather seems to be clinging on that winter, autumn sort of feel. So I wanted to grab a few bottles from my collection that really epitomize the type of fragrance I love to wear in those intermittent cooler months. So I'm going to do maybe a favorite 6 fall fragrance video, and we're going to start off with one by Jean-Paul Guerlain, for the House of Guerlain obviously, and that is Coriolan. Now Coriolan came onto the world stage in 1998, and it was kind of at the end of Jean-Paul Guerlain's tenure at Guerlain before he was ousted from the company. It was a period in which I felt he was kind of exploring his vast history of perfume making, and he created some fantastic masculines and feminines. Samsara, Heritage, and Coriolan, of course. So Coriolan's a wonderful fragrance. It has been packaged in a bottle that is reminiscent of a gunpowder flacon, I suppose, the ones that they used to use when they were filling their guns back in the 1800s. It's a great presentation and very masculine in that regard. The fragrance itself is wonderful. It has great sort of citrusy top notes of lemon, petitgrain, bergamot, and neroli. There's also a lovely aromatic heart with sage, nutmeg, coriander, fennel, so you get that sort of slight sense of green in there. And the base is oak moss, leather, vetiver, benzoin, and patchouli. Now, the sum of those ingredients makes for a really great autumnal scent. It feels coppery and green. For me, when I spray it, I feel like I've walked outside on one of those brisk winter mornings, which is quite cool and, quite brisk, but with like a phenomenal blue sky. One of those clear autumn or winter mornings where it's cold, the leaves are crunching underfoot, and that's definitely the sense I get from Coriolan. So it was discontinued some years ago and reissued in the Les Parisiennes line. However, it's gone again. You can still grab bottles of this from time to time at a reasonable price. You might have to hunt them out. But yeah, it's a great one to have in the collection. Probably this and Heritage by Guerlain are the two most autumnal scents that are from this house for men, and I love them in every regard. And also, it's important to keep in mind, when I talk about masculines or men's fragrances, they don't have to be limited to that. I have a lot of female friends who love wearing men's fragrances or fragrances marketed to men. I'm always about wear what you like. So now we're going to have a look at our second fragrance in the autumnal series, and that is Diptyque's Tam Dao. Tam Dao by Diptyque is a fragrance that I first encountered in the early 2000s. It was launched in 2003, and here in Western Australia it was sold at the time exclusively through the Art Gallery of Western Australia. And as I was transiting past the Art Gallery to get to the main train station here in Perth, I would often stop by, and this was the bottle that really took me. Of course, it was packaged differently back in the day. The Eau de Toilette was released in the market in 2003, but in 2013, exactly a decade later, they decided to release the Eau de Parfum, and it's this particular concentration that I love, particularly in the cooler months. So Tam Dao is a wonderful sandalwood fragrance, and it's one that has a lovely texture to it. There's sandalwood, cedar, amberwood, which I heavily suspect is an aroma chemical that sort of gives an ambery woody effect, coriander, musk, vanilla, lime, and ginger. But this one has a great texture. It's got a wonderful sort of husky, creamy, sandalwood, vanilla kind of aspect to it. And it's one that feels quite warm and familiar. In winter, we like to cozy up to those sort of scents that feel textured and warm, much like a blanket that we want to pull around ourselves. And Tam Dao is that sort of thing that I love. Fantastic fragrance. Now we're going to take a look at Sarah Jessica Parker's Stash. Now I'm the kind of guy who likes to try anything. It doesn't matter who the manufacturer is, whether it's cheap or expensive. But I have to say, when Sarah Jessica Parker reached the market in the fragrance sphere, I was a little bit dubious. However, that being said, her fragrance Lovely, which was a very obvious dupe of Narciso Rodriguez for her, was very nice. And it's when Stash came to the market in 2016 that she finally ticked all the boxes for me. I'm a big fan of this fragrance. You know, it was launched at a very accessible price point here in Australia and sort of rolled out to chemist franchises, so it was quite accessible at the time. But it has a wonderful genderless feel to it. Men and women both appreciate it. And it's one of those fragrances which is perfect for the cooler weather. It's got black pepper, sage, grapefruit, there's cedar and patchouli in there, also pistachio, ginger lily, oliban, there's massoya wood, and there's also musk. So it's a scent that's quite complex. What I love about this fragrance in particular is it dances between woody notes and a soft kind of green floral. It's kind of those pistachio, ginger lily kind of notes that sort of peek out from time to time. And that, I suppose, also has it lean feminine in some ways, whereas black pepper and those woods and everything have it lean masculine. So it's a great one for both genders. Yes, Stash is a beauty. It's disappeared from the market here in Australia probably a year or two ago, which is quite concerning. The black version, I mean. So that might suggest that it's been discontinued or possibly just pulled out of production for the time being, for whatever reason. However, yeah, I'm a fan, so I've got a couple of bottles. There's some irony in having a stash of Stash. But yes, if it's one you've tried and you've enjoyed, now is the time to grab a bottle to keep in your perfume repository. We're going to take a look now at another sort of autumnal fragrance. It's Comme des Garçons Copper. What I love about Comme des Garçons in particular is that they do a wonderful job working with synthetics and molecules and things like that. So a lot of their fragrances are either focused on like a singular scent or don't have much, I suppose, change from top notes to base notes. And that can always be a good thing because what you spray is what you get. That is the case for Copper. And now this was launched in 2018, I think it was, or 2019. I fell for it as soon as it touched my nose. Yes, the name and the appearance is very autumnal. You get an idea of those crisp autumn leaves. But Copper is kind of what it says on the box. It smells like copper. It has pink pepper, there's galbanum, blackcurrant, there's a metal accord that they've worked in there, so a synthetic metal molecule which does smell metallic. There's tobacco leaf, violet leaf, ginger, vanilla, amber, and myrrh. So yeah, this one's really great. It sort of feels like copper with a patina on it. So there's a metallic kind of orange feel to it, but also that underlying sense of like a green patina that you see when copper oxidizes. It's a very clever composition and one that's very addictive, something that I keep bringing back to my nose when I wear it, and I have had many compliments when I've worn it too. It's beautifully packaged in that sort of very restrained Japanese aesthetic pebble-shaped bottle, which a lot of the Comme des Garçons fragrances have utilized. And probably from their universe, it's probably top 3 or 4 for me. Copper's a great one to add to your fall, autumn sort of collection, and it's readily available on the market now. All right, we're going to take a quick look at another favorite fragrance from Caron. It's L'Anarchiste. Arguably the best non-conforming fragrance in the Caron universe. L'Anarchiste was released back in 2000, and you know, its name suggests something that sort of rebukes convention, the anarchist, and it's been packaged in this fabulous copper jerry can bottle. This was the original flacon that it was released in, vintage version. It's since been packaged in the standard, I suppose, square-shouldered glass Caron bottle. But this is a great fragrance, and it's really difficult to describe unless you pass it under your nose. It's one that I've always said to friends, wait until you smell this rich, complex fragrance. And I've often asked, can you identify particular notes? And they might have pulled 1 or 2, but it's just this incredible blend that is quite surprising. And it does feel very autumnal. It's not just the copper again. But yeah, it has an opening which has mint. And again, mint's a tricky thing to work with without it smelling like toothpaste or breath mints or whatever. But here it works seamlessly. There's orange blossom, there's cinnamon and vetiver, cedar, guaiac wood, sandalwood, and musk. And it's a really great sort of composition. At different times, depending as you're wearing it outside in the cool weather or whatever, you'll get almost black tea kind of notes, and then later on you'll get those mint notes step forward, and then you might get the earthy kind of soil like vetiver pushing forward. It's a great fragrance and non-conforming. I love to wear this when I'm in a bit of a cheeky mood, want to go out, make an impression. I spritz liberally, and people are often drawn to it. And sort of, they'll say to me, "What are you wearing? What is that?" And I'll be like, "It's this and that," and I'll try and describe it, and they'll say, "I've never smelled anything quite like it." And that can be said, yeah, it's true. I haven't smelled other fragrances that sort of are in this universe, so in that regard, it's very singular. Perfect to add to your fall, autumn, winter collection, and you can still find the repackaged version of this on the market, and some of these copper bottles still come up from time to time on eBay and other sites like that. I would highly advise you check it out. Our final bottle in this series is by Onirico. The fragrance is Unguentum. Not sure if the pronunciation's right there. Unguentum. But anyway, it's fantastic. It's been packaged in this squat black glass bottle with marble, I don't remember what you call it. It's not terrazzo, but it's a marble travertine lid, very weighty in the hand. And it's another fragrance which is great. It dances between green and woody and spicy, and it's perfect for that more sort of temperate climate during the year. So it has tea, there's cinnamon, artemisia, calamus, which gives a sort of a strange watery quality underneath, mandarin and saffron, there's tobacco, sweet grapes, which lends a nice sort of sweetness to it. There's honey, cedar, vanilla, opopanax, there's amber and musk. So again, very complex. They're putting a lot into this fragrance and their quality ingredients. Yeah, there's some of them really has that push-pull between mouth-watering greens with grapes and honey and things like that, and lovely kind of dry accords like your cinnamon and barks and woods. So yeah, if you've not checked out Onirico as a brand, they're all made in Italy, and they feel timeless. It's a really exciting brand to explore. So if you can hunt down some samples, take a look. And I do want to hear what your thoughts are on some of their other fragrances. If you want to add some comments below, let's have a chat about your favorite fall fragrances. What are your favorites? Have you tried any of these that I've highlighted today? And if you could hit the subscribe button or share, I'd be delighted. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you've enjoyed this brief overview of 6 favorite fall fragrances. And I'll be back very soon with another. Take care till then.